So some breaking news now to bring you that's happened in the last few minutes. We've learnt new information. The person who has died on this tragic flight from Heathrow to Singapore, well, is confirmed as a 73-year-old British man.
Yes, we also now know that 7 on board are critically injured, and there are 23 who have suffered moderate injuries, 16 with slight injuries, and 1 crew member has also been injured. Well, joining us now for more is GBNews Home and Security Editor Mark White. Shocking, the extent of the injuries aboard this flight. We now know that a British man in his 70s is now dead.
Yeah, we're getting more information all the time from Thai authorities who've just been holding a news conference at the main international airport in Bangkok, and they have confirmed to us that this 73-year-old British man has succumbed to his injuries, but also they said that he may have suffered a cardiac event. Whether that was brought on by his injuries or not, we don't know at this stage, but they are telling us now that from initial reports of some 20 injured, 64 is the total number of injuries on board that flight. You can see these latest images of the ginger way in which the firefighting authorities are taking some of the injured out on backboards, some of the more seriously injured. We're told that 7 of the injured passengers are described as having suffered critical injuries. What happened, according to passengers on the flight that have been speaking to reporters, is that those who were not strapped into their seats were suddenly thrown up into the air and smashed into the baggage areas, the baggage bins above their heads. And we can see from the images some of the damage to those baggage bins and to the areas, of course, where the oxygen masks drop down as well. Some of those damaged, some of the oxygen masks having been deployed during this emergency. And according to authorities, or at least to the passengers, the aircraft itself dropped thousands of feet. Flight radar suggests some 6,000 feet, from 37,000 to 31,000 feet in a matter of just a few minutes, just as the aircraft was exiting the Bay of Bengal, heading towards Thailand, and immediately diverted to the closest international airport, that being, of course, that main airport in Bangkok. You can see the aircraft on the tarmac there with emergency service vehicles and convoy of ambulances around this aircraft. And on the ground, a well-rehearsed rescue operation swung into practice with the triage tents on the tarmac outside on the ground just by the aircraft itself, as they assessed those injured people before transferring them to hospital. But according to the Thai spokesman who gave a press conference just in the last few minutes, they are not talking at this stage about the cause of this incident. They will leave that up to the accident investigators from the Singaporean Airlines and from the Federal Aviation Administration.
This is such a rare occurrence. Do you know the last time that something like this has happened? Of course, everyone's likely experienced turbulence at one point or other on an aeroplane, but to this extent, to lead to a death.
Well, it's certainly not uncommon for people to be injured in episodes of severe turbulence on aircraft. It happens fairly frequently, and it's one of the reasons why the crew on board an aircraft will always advise passengers to keep their seatbelts on when they're seated, even if it's just loosely fastened, to stop that kind of event happening if they hit turbulence, to prevent them going too far out of their seat and hitting their head on the ceiling above. And indeed, according to Thai authorities, the 61 people who were injured, not 64, just a revised number, 61 people injured. Most of them had suffered head injuries, cuts to the head from colliding with the luggage bins and the area above their head where they were seated. So it's not unknown, and that will factor into the investigation. That area around the Bay of Bengal is notorious for thunderstorm activity, of course, which can lead to severe turbulence.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Mark. Please come back and speak to us if you hear any more